Today I want to introduce you to the concept of the key of C, or the key signature of C. This is again a musical term that refers to basically the notes that we play in a certain key. Right now we are in the key of C. If you remember on our worship choruses page at the top, it says we are playing the key of C. And so the key of C simply means that we're going to be playing all white keys. Okay, so we're not going to use any black keys in the key of C. Key of C uses only white keys, and you've seen in our choruses that we've been playing, we haven't used any black keys. It's all been white keys, and that's because we are in the key of C, or the key signature of C. Okay, so to find our C scale, which you don't really need to know much about scales yet, you don't need to know how to play them, but basically our C scale is going to be from C to C. So every white key from C to C, that's our C scale. And then on each note of the scale, we can make a chord. So on the C note, we can build a chord, every other white key. And then we get our C chord, which you can see on the chart there. That's our first chord, the C. Now on the D, the second note of our scale, we can build a chord and we get D minor. You can see that on the page. Our third note of the scale is E, so we build a chord there and we get E minor. Our fourth note is F, so we build a chord on the F, we get F major. You don't have to say major, but you can, F or F major. On the fifth note, which is G, you build a chord and we get G major, or a G chord. And then on the sixth note of the scale, you can build a chord, A, every other white key, and you get A minor. Now there's one note of the scale that's left out. You've probably noticed that, and that's our B. We haven't played anything on B yet. We can also form a chord on the B, and that would be this chord, which sounds really odd. It's called a B diminished. B diminished, we don't really use that in worship music. So I don't have that on the top of our worship choruses page because we don't use it in worship music. But if you play classical music, you will see the diminished chords a lot. So that would be written B, D-I-M. Or another way to write it is B with a little degree symbol out by it. That means diminished as well. So B diminished. And that would be on that seventh note of the scale. But again, we don't really use that much in worship music, so we're not really going to concern ourselves with that at this point. So basically, when you are in the key of C, you have only 6 chords. And those are the 6 chords that are written here. The C, D minor, E minor, F, G, and A minor. And once you know all of those chords, which you do at this point, you can play any song in the key of C because you know all of the chords. Now, another thing we can start to look at right now, this is an advanced concept, but it's good to at least be introduced to it now, is that we can actually give each chord in the key a number. So if you recall our scale starts on C. So the chord that's built on that first note of the scale can be called a 1 chord. Okay, so our C chord, we can also call it 1. It's a 1 chord in the key of C. On the second note of our scale, we can build a minor chord, or 2 minor. So we call that 2 with a lowercase m to note that it's minor. All right, our 3 chord is minor, so we write that as 3m. On the fourth note of our scale, we can call that our 4 chord. It's major, so we don't need to have a capital M. We can if we want to, but we don't need to. So that would be major, our 4 chord. And then the G would be our 5 chord. And then the A minor would be our 6 minor. It's also interesting to note here that our 1, 4, and 5 are major. The C, F, and G are major. And then the 2 minor, 3 minor, and 6 minor, those are all minor. And it's going to be like that for all of the other keys that you learn. If you've already played around with some other keys, that might make sense to you. If you haven't played around with other keys yet, that's fine. Then it'll make sense to you a little bit later on. But in any key you have, your 1, 4, and 5 chords are always going to be major, and your 2, 3, and 6 chords are always going to be minor. So that's a little introduction to the key of C that helps you to understand the theory behind how all of these notes and how all of these chords relate together in the key that we're playing. We're not just playing random chords. We're playing really only 6 chords for almost any song we can find in the key of C. I hope you enjoyed this video. The clip that you just watched is from my course called Beginning Worship Piano. If you would like to learn more about how to play worship piano from a heart of worship and love for Jesus, check out my online lessons and courses at adorationmusicacademy.com.